Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Terry Crow, and I serve as mayor of University City. I am joined today by our city manager, Gregory Rose, who is putting in, I know, a lot of stressful, long hours, guiding us through these uncharted waters. I will say on behalf of my colleagues on the council, we thank you for what you are doing for us day in and day out. And to our citizens, I hope that you will find that the choice we made in a city manager has been validated and are appreciative of Gregory's leadership. Not only do we have his experience and expertise, but who knew that we would have a city manager who is certified with the National Incident Management System. That is the group that does most of the certification nationwide for incidents such as what we are going through today. I recognize that so many people are going through a great deal of stress, whether it be physical or whether it be financial, whether it be staying at home or whether it be those of you who have been put on a temporary furlough or have been laid off or have had your businesses shut down. We will be providing you with ongoing resources to help as much as possible with stress, to help with financial resources where they may be coming from, to look at the federal loan programs that are out there. But this is one of those times in our lives when it is clear that we are all in this together. You know, there's an ancient quote that is out there that has to be very prescient for what we're all going through today. And that is, be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a great battle. I hope as we are out walking our dogs or watching people as they move about, that we take a moment to look at that person, because it is quite likely that that person is facing a much greater challenge than we are ourselves. And speaking of facing challenges, I would be remiss if I did not make a shout out and a thank you to all of the people who are on the front line, whether it be the grocery workers, whether it be the firefighters, EMTs, police, nurses' aides, doctors, nurses, caregivers. To all of you, you are the heroes to us because you are the ones that are keeping us safe. You're the ones that are keeping our loved ones safe. I also want to take a moment and thank ServPro. I got a email this morning from our fire chief that said that ServPro came out and cleaned and disinfected the inside of all fire and EMS apparatus and also both firehouses. ServPro is doing this free of charge to all fire departments and EMS services in the area. So to ServPro, I'd like to say thank you on behalf of our EMS responders and the citizens of University City. You know, the rules haven't changed since the last time that Gregory and I spoke to you. The rules are exactly the same. Stay home, wash your hands, and keep your distance. Every now and then, since we're spending a little bit of time on social media, I see people having a discussion about masks. I have my mask here as well. Please know, the mask isn't about you. The mask is about those around you. The mask is about caring about that person in front of you and behind you at the grocery store who may have a pulmonary issue, who may be much older, who may have some form of an immune deficiency. Please, the masks are not about you. The masks are about the people around you. We have an obligation during this time to protect the most vulnerable. If you haven't been checking on your neighbors, please do so. This is the time for all of us to be checking on each other. If you're like me and you get bored at home, make some masks if you can sew. I cannot sew, so I've delivered masks. If you don't feel comfortable delivering masks, I am assuming you are watching the TV. You are seeing the lines across this country at food pantries and food distribution locations. The lines have never been longer and the supplies have never been less. Click online. Find a way to help those around you. One of the efforts we are making here in University City is to start a new newsletter. It will come out every other week. It is called Explore U City. One will come out tomorrow afternoon. It will highlight and give information on several of our local businesses. Some of them in tomorrow's edition will be contact information for Frank and Helen's, for Mike's Hot Dogs, for Colleen's Cookies, for Three Kings, for Dewey's Pizza. and a little bit more of a detailed history of the restaurant Renouche. Again, another thing we can all do safely is we can order food from our local restaurants. It can be delivered or it can be picked up. That is a simple way for us to help the rest of our community. I also want to take a brief moment, a personal moment if you will, and say that in University City we lost a member of our family this past week. I was made aware that Mr. Albert Ross passed away last week. If any of you go to Centennial Commons, you will remember that Mr. Al, as he was called, was usually there to greet you. The comments that have been coming in, I'd like to just read a few of them, that Mr. Al was a mentor, icon, the ultimate Marine. Thank God for placing him in our lives. These are just a few of the statements that truly are the measure of this man and the impact he has had on everyone he worked with. Though Mr. Al worked well into his late 80s, he had the love and respect of all who entered Centennial Commons, both young and old, co-worker and member. I would like to extend our sympathies to his family and to his Centennial Commons family as well. Clearly, we face difficult days ahead. The surge has not hit St. Louis yet. And I would like to reiterate what Dr. Fauci has said to us most recently. Now is not the time to let your foot off the gas. The rules are the same. Stay home, wash your hands, and keep a social distance. This week in particular is a very special week for many people, whether it be Passover or whether it be Easter, a time to reflect, a time to atone, and a time to think of others. Truly, this year, it is a time to think of others. If you are wanting to observe a prayer or religious service, we would ask that you do so by video or by television. If you're wanting to share time with your family, we ask that you do it by video or by telephone. If there are meals that you have always prepared for a traditional holiday like this, we hope that you will continue to do so and enjoy it, but yet share it with your family via video or telephone. We recognize that this is a tough time. As I close out my remarks, I think that all of us recognize that we are spending so much more time on social media than we ever have before. It really does amaze me as well. And what I would ask for all of you to do is just take a moment, and before you hit that reply or before you hit that message, would you just pause for a minute. I was raised by parents who taught me that if you don't have anything good to say, then you don't say anything at all. This is a time when if someone has a slight towards you, it probably wasn't intentional. No one is acting with malicious intent these days. This is all about us getting together, working together. So if there's one thing I would ask of all of you as we go forward, it is just to give each other just a little bit of grace, just a little bit of grace at this time. And as one of our probably most prominent world leaders said last week, and probably the longest reigning world leader we have these days, is we will return to better days and we will see each other again. Mr. Rose.
Mayor, thank you, and thank your colleagues for such kind words and such leadership in this difficult time period that we see ourselves in. I'd like to take just a few minutes to update the public on the activities that have occurred, in some instances a little less than a week. They are quite striking. So since I presented to you on Friday the 3rd, the impacts of the coronavirus have worsened. To date, there are more than 1.5 million positive cases worldwide. That's up from 1 million cases in less than a week. 450,000 in the United States. That's up from 246,000 in less than a week. 3,037 in Missouri, up from 1,800 in less than a week, and more than 1,200 cases in St. Louis County, up from 600 in less than a week. Approximately 90,000 people have lost their lives to this virus. That's up from 55,000 people worldwide. More than 15,000 Americans, that's up from 6,000. 80 Missourians, that's up from 19. And 26 in St. Louis County, that's up from 5. The coronavirus is a lethal and highly contagious disease. It is with this backdrop that I ordered the closure of our parks, golf course, and trails simply to slow the spread of this lethal disease. This was consistent with the recommendations that have been made by St. Louis County Executive Page as well as Governor Park. Had tested positive for COVID-19. Our thoughts and our prayers are with the employee and with the family as they deal with this disease. It does not appear that the employee contracted the virus through any work-related activity. And although the employee did not have a prolonged exposure to the public, out of an abundance of caution, we disclosed this information. The golf course was immediately closed and will remain closed until the emergency declaration is lifted. As of the drafting of this presentation, no other city employees have tested positive for the coronavirus. This pandemic has placed a great burden on University City by restricting our movement and, for some, causing the employment to end. These physical and financial challenges can often lead to anger, stress, and frustration. If you find yourself needing assistance in coping with these issues, please contact St. Louis County Behavioral Health Response Line at 314-469-6644. That is 314-469-6644. For older adults that need assistance, please contact the county's senior services at 314-615-4516. That's 314-615-4516. Remember that asking for help when you need it is not a sign of weakness. Rather, it is perhaps one of the greatest displays of strength. The next edition of Roar's newsletter will look different from our prior editions, as it will not include future activities due to the uncertainty created by the coronavirus emergency. We will use Roar's to further communicate our current operational status and share information on how to deal with this pandemic. Once the emergency declaration is lifted, it is the intent to have the Roar's newsletter return to its original format. The scientists tell us, although we have difficult days ahead, things are improving, and there is a light at the end of this tunnel. Staying at home and social distancing are working. Dr. Fauci asked that we keep up the good work. It is certainly in that spirit that I ask you, please, 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 wash your hands vigorously and stay at home if at all possible. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to brief you. Stay healthy, stay safe. Thank you.